The woman no one chose. The train hissed as it slowed, iron wheels screaming against frozen rails. Snow covered the small frontier town of Red Willow Creek, turning everything pale and quiet, except for the beating of one anxious heart. Clara Whitmore stood alone on the platform. Her coat was thin, her gloves had holes at the fingertips, and her suitcase, the only thing she owned, leaned awkwardly against her leg. She had crossed half the country to be here. A mail-order bride, that was what the advertisement had promised. A hard-working rancher seeking a decent woman to share a simple life. But now, as the last passenger stepped off the train and the conductor called, "All aboard," Clara realized something was terribly wrong. No one came for her. Men stood nearby. Ranchers. Townfolk. A few curious onlookers. They glanced at her, then looked away. Some whispered. Some smirked. One woman murmured, "That must be her." Another replied, "Poor thing. He didn't even show." Clara's fingers tightened around her suitcase handle. She had sold her mother's wedding ring to afford this journey. There was no home to return to. No family waiting back east. Only this cold town, and rejection. As the train pulled away, taking her last chance with it, Clara swallowed her tears and whispered, "Please, don't send me away." The silent cowboy. From across the street, a man watched. His name was Ethan Cole. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a weathered face carved by sun, wind, and years of loneliness. A scar traced his jaw, a reminder of a life that had taught him not to trust easily. Ethan wasn't supposed to be here. He hadn't come to meet a bride. He hadn't answered any advertisement. He had only come to town for supplies. But something about the woman standing alone in the snow caught his attention. She wasn't crying. She wasn't begging. She stood straight, even as her world collapsed. And Ethan knew that look. He had worn it himself once, after burying his wife and child during a brutal winter long ago. He turned to leave. Helping meant attachment. Attachment meant pain. But as Clara lifted her suitcase, struggling under its weight, her knees buckled. She nearly fell. Before he could stop himself, Ethan crossed the street. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked, his voice low and rough. Clara looked up, startled. I think so." Her eyes were tired. Not weak, tired. "Someone supposed to meet you?" Ethan asked. She nodded once. He changed his mind. Ethan clenched his jaw. Town men could be cruel. And cowards. He hesitated only a moment before saying the words that would change both their lives. "You got someplace to stay tonight?" Clara shook her head slowly. Ethan exhaled. Then said quietly, "I've got a ranch. It's not much, but it's warm. An unlikely shelter." The ranch was small but sturdy, tucked against rolling hills dusted with snow. Ethan gave her the spare room, the one he hadn't opened in years. His wife's old quilt still rested there. "I can sleep in the barn if," Clara began. "You won't," Ethan interrupted. "You're a guest." She nodded, gratitude thick in her throat. That night, they ate in silence. Ethan placed half his food onto her plate without a word. She noticed, and quietly pushed it back. "I don't need charity," she said. Ethan met her gaze. "Neither do I." After a pause, she accepted. Something unspoken passed between them. Respect. Whispers and wounds. Town gossip spread quickly. A strange woman living with Cole. Thought he was heartless. Maybe desperate. Clara heard it all when she went to town for supplies. She returned to the ranch shaken. "I'll leave," she told Ethan that night. "I don't want trouble." Ethan's voice hardened. "You ain't causing any. But you didn't ask for me." "No," he admitted. "But you're here." Then, softer, "And you work harder than most men I know." For weeks, Clara helped on the ranch. She cooked, mended fences, learned the rhythm of the land. Slowly, the ranch felt alive again. And Ethan began to laugh. Just a little. The storm. One night, a blizzard struck without warning. Snow trapped Clara outside while gathering firewood. By the time Ethan found her, she was unconscious. He carried her through the storm, panic clawing his chest, a fear he thought he'd buried forever. For 2 days, Clara hovered between life and death. Ethan never left her side. When she finally woke, her voice was barely a whisper. "You came back for me." "Always," he said, surprised by his own certainty. A choice made. Spring came slowly. And with it, clarity. "I didn't come here to be saved," Clara said one evening. "I came to belong." Ethan swallowed hard. "And do you?" She stepped closer. "Do you want me to?" For the first time in years, Ethan let himself hope. The wedding no one expected. They married quietly. No advertisements. No crowds. Just a promise made honestly. The same town that once whispered now watched in silence as Clara, once unwanted, walked proudly beside the silent cowboy who chose her. Not out of pity, but love. If this emotional Western story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories like this. Subscribe for more videos.